I never realized how much stress controlled my life until one fateful evening when I found myself sitting alone in my dimly lit apartment, drowning in worry. Deadlines loomed over me like storm clouds. My phone buzzed endlessly with messages I didn't have the energy to answer, and sleep had become an unattainable luxury. I was stuck in an endless loop of anxiety, frustration, and exhaustion. That night, I did something I rarely did, called Antonio. He was my old college friend, the kind of guy who never seemed to let stress get to him. While I panicked over exams and internships, he approached everything with a calm, almost effortless composure. I never understood how he did it, but I was desperate enough to ask. "Antonio, how do you do it?" I blurted out after he answered. "How do you stay so collected all the time?" He chuckled, and I could almost see the knowing smile forming on his face. "You're finally asking the right question," he said. "Listen, stress isn't the enemy, it's how you deal with it that matters." I scoffed. "Great. So what? I just tell myself to stop being stressed." "Not exactly," he replied. "Meet me for coffee tomorrow. I'll show you something that changed my life." Curious but skeptical, I agreed. The next day, I found myself sitting across from Antonio, nursing a cappuccino while he pulled out a notebook. "Managing stress isn't about eliminating pressure," he began, flipping through the pages. "It's about learning how to respond to it. Think of stress like a fire. If you let it burn out of control, it destroys everything. But if you learn to contain it, it gives you warmth and energy." I raised an eyebrow. "And how exactly do I contain stress?" He grinned. "I'll break it down into 3 steps. But you have to trust the process. Step number 1, identify and reframe stress." Antonio handed me a pen. "Write down everything that's stressing you out right now." I hesitated, but then the words poured out: work deadlines, financial worries, personal insecurities. When I finished, he nodded. "Now, next to each one, write down what that stress is trying to tell you." I frowned. "What do you mean?" "Stress isn't just there to ruin your life," he explained. "It's a signal. For example, work deadlines stress you out because you care about your job. Financial worries exist because you want stability. Instead of seeing stress as the enemy, view it as a guide." I sighed but followed his instructions. As I wrote, something shifted. The stressors weren't just weights pressing down on me. They were clues about what mattered most. Step number 2. The 90-second rule. "Next," Antonio continued, "I want you to try something called the 90-second rule." I gave him a confused look. "What's that?" "Research shows that when we experience stress, the actual chemical reaction in our brain only lasts about 90 seconds. After that, we keep the stress alive by replaying thoughts and scenarios. If you can ride out those 90 seconds without feeding the panic, you'll gain control." "That sounds impossible." He smiled. "It's not. Next time you feel overwhelmed, set a timer for 90 seconds. Breathe deeply. Feel the stress in your body, but don't react to it. Just observe. Then, when the time's up, choose your next move." Skeptical but intrigued, I promised to try it. Step number 3. The stress ritual. Antonio leaned forward. "The last step is creating a ritual that signals your brain to reset. It can be as simple as taking a 5-minute walk, stretching, journaling, or even making a cup of tea. The key is consistency. I thought about it. So, I just do one of these things whenever I feel stressed. Exactly. Over time, your brain will start associating the ritual with calming down. It's like training a muscle. You get better with practice. I then rushed for putting it to the test. I left that coffee shop feeling hopeful but uncertain. Would these steps actually work? The real test came 2 days later when my boss dumped a last-minute project on my plate. My heart pounded, my mind raced high, felt the familiar wave of stress creeping in. Then I remembered Antonio's words. First, I identified and reframed the stress. Okay, this stress means I care about doing a good job. That simple shift stopped me from spiraling. Next, I pulled out my phone and set a timer for 90 seconds. As the seconds ticked by, I focused on my breath. My chest was tight at first, but by the time the alarm went off, I felt more in control. Finally, I walked to the office kitchen, made myself a cup of green tea, and let the warmth settle me. When I returned to my desk, the panic had subsided. The work was still there, but I wasn't drowning in it anymore. The road to change. Over the next few weeks, I practiced the steps relentlessly. There were setbacks, of course. Some days, I forgot the 90-second rule and let stress consume me. Other times, I skipped my stress ritual and felt the difference. But each time I returned to the system, I got a little better. A month later, I ran into Antonio again. "How's the stress battle going?" he asked with a knowing smile. I grinned. I won't say I'm stress-free, but I feel more in control. Work is still hectic, but I'm handling it better. Even my sleep has improved. He nodded. That's the power of small, consistent changes. Keep at it. The ripple effect. The most surprising part. As I managed my stress better, people around me noticed. My co-workers started asking how I stayed so calm under pressure. A friend going through a tough time reached out, and I shared Antonio's lessons with him. One evening, I sat with Antonio, reflecting on everything. "It's crazy," I said. "I thought stress was just something I had to suffer through. But now, it's like I have a toolkit for handling it." He smiled. "And that toolkit will keep growing. You just have to keep using it." Looking back, I realized something important. Stress hadn't disappeared from my life. But instead of being a victim to it, I had learned to work with it, to navigate it, rather than be consumed by it. And that, I realized, was the key to managing stress effectively. So, if you're reading this and feeling overwhelmed, take a deep breath. Try the 90-second rule. Start a stress ritual. Reframe your stress. You don't need to eliminate pressure. You just need to learn how to handle it. Who knows? It might just change everything.